And then we move to the keyword of architecture, the one I got before as a mistake. And architectures as software frameworks define spaces, define the usage of spaces, define what's inside, outside, what's your body, what's outside of your body, defines the usage of spaces and the things that you see. And it's the same in physical architectures and in software architectures, because the same things can be said of a building and of Facebook. If a building doesn't have a door to access a specific place, it's the same thing as on, for example, Facebook, who doesn't allow you to see where your data is going. Okay, so there are these definite parallels from physical architectures and software architectures because they define spaces. And, for example, as of today, it is not strange to say that most of the times the museum is very much more interesting than the artworks it contains. Many people go to see the museum, not the artworks, because the museum describes the experience in which the artworks are experienced, are seen, are shown are enabled in a way, in more than one way. In many ways, who designs the framework or the architecture, which is the same, enacts the power.
For me, there were a problem in our dialogue about the term architectural, because it's something that just programmers and hackers use. And architecture is treated like a metaphor for complex structures, and so my term in versus architectural is architectonics, or architettonico in Italian. Architectonics is something that Wes Jones, an architect from California, used to talk about what remains of architecture when the sheltering function is even less and less useful because technology let people use what remains of architecture without the sheltering function is architectonics. Is definition of it, and architecture without space is architectonics, and this is very interesting and not Vitruvian, because after 2,000 years we have something that we can treat as architecture, but don't have any relation with space.
Okay, so we'll go faster. And so the next step is, beyond architecture, is in this analysis, the next step we analyze is the idea of authority. So an authority that works on imaginaries, on utopias, because by encoding spaces, software frameworks, and all the hybrid spaces which we can access, it creates the visions, the perspective,